What's going on, guys? Seth here from Team Union Seth. Here is your coach of the Philadelphia Fearows for a new league, the Franchise Pokemon Championship League, Season 1 for our draft analysis. So, this is a new league that I am in. It has a little bit of a niche to it. We'll get into that in a second, but let's see. Going right into it. So there were 8 teams in the draft. Only 8 teams, so not a huge league. It was a snake draft after the first round. So I'll explain how the first round worked in a second. But after the first round, it was a snake draft. So the first pick in the first round went last in the second round. Last pick in the first round, first in the second round. So the order flipped every time. It was an open draft, so you could pick any mon in any tier at any time. So getting into the first round was the franchise round. So the niche about this league is that you are able to pick a mon to franchise. You can spend extra points in order to franchise a mon and potentially keep it for Season 2 only at its base value. So how that worked is, let's say you wanted to franchise a Tier 1 mon. Tier 1 mons cost 180 points. You would have to spend 200 points to franchise that mon. And if someone else after you wanted that mon, they could bid you up. So they could bid 220 points for that mon. And then you could either bid more, you go 240 points, or you could let them take it. So that's how the first round worked. The first round had its own order. After the draft is over, each team picked one Z mascot. So how this one worked is basically whatever mon is your Z mascot. Those typings, whatever typings or typing that mon is, are the Z crystals you could use. So say you draft a Kyurem Black and you make it your Z mascot, you would get the Dragonium Z and the Icium Z, so the Dragon and Ice Z crystals. And you could use those on any mon on your team. So we had 500 free points for 5 free Pokemon throughout the draft. So the requirements for 1 Tier 1, 1 Tier 2, 2 Tier 3s, 1 Tier 4, 1 Tier 5, 1 Mega, and then, like I said, 5 free Pokemon throughout the draft. So getting right into it, the franchise round was up first. Going into the draft, I wasn't so sure I wanted to franchise a mon, so I was kind of going to skip this round altogether. But I did realize that if I did that, it would put me at a little bit of a disadvantage because I'd have to pick my last mon. I'd basically get a mon behind everyone. So I decided to just go for it and draft a mon. Now, originally, I wanted to get Kyurem Black, but that went first overall. So Kyurem Black was taken first overall, and that was unfortunate, but there were a couple other mons I was looking at. But we were able to snag Celesteela. So Celesteela, in my opinion, is one of the best mons in the format, if not in all of Pokemon competitive play. It has incredible bulk. Both of its defense stats are above base 100, and then it has 97 base HP. It has great utility with things such as Leech Seed and Protect, Toxic, Substitute, and with that bulk, it makes it really, really nice. It has great type coverage, so if you go through its move pool, it hits most types. I mean, there aren't a whole lot of mons that don't get hit super effectively by one of Celesteela's moves. And then it also gives us a ground immunity, so supporting the team a little bit, giving us a switch into those ground moves. So its ability is Beast Boost. All the Ultra Beasts get that ability, so it boosts whatever stat is highest. Some common moves you'll see on it: Air Slash, Autotomize, Earthquake, Energy Ball, Flamethrower, Giga Drain, Heavy Slam. I mean, this thing's coverage is awesome. Rock Slide, Seed Bomb, Superpower, gets things like Protect and Substitute and Toxic, like I had mentioned. So really nice to pick up Celesteela. I'm really excited about this mon. And I think it's easily worth a franchise pick and a first pick, or I think it could have potentially gone first overall in general. So, moving on to our next mon, I decided to pick up Xurkitree. So Xurkitree is something I've never used before in the format. I've never used Celesteela either, but Xurkitree is something I've never used in the format. Typically, I usually go with faster electric types. And Xurkitree is a little bit on the slower side. It is a decent speed tier at base 83, but it's a little bit on the slower side for electric types, but I know how good this thing can be. I know how much of a nuke it is. I mean, it's got ridiculous special attack. It's like base 170 or 180, something up around there. It has pretty decent type coverage, so it doesn't have a whole lot of different moves, but the moves it does have cover a good amount of types pretty well. It gets set up with things like Tail Glow, and I could potentially run like Z Hypnosis or Z Rain Dance, or Z Electric Terrain. Things like that, if I do have the option to use Z-moves on this thing. It gives me momentum with Volt Switch, which is always awesome. I love having momentum. And it gives me an excellent Z-user, whether it's a boosting Z-move or just an offensive Z-move, like a Z-Thunderbolt is going to destroy teams. It also synergizes pretty well with Celesteela having that ground immunity. Xurkitree's only weakness being ground. So, its ability, obviously Beast Boost again, boosting its special attack most of the time, pretty much all the time, I think. Standard moves, you'll see Dazzling Gleam, Energy Ball. It usually runs a hidden power, can run Signal Beam, Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Substitute is an option, as well as Tail Glow for some setup. So I'm excited to use this mon. I'm curious to see how it's going to work out. I'm pretty hyped to build with it and to learn how to use it and things like that. So moving on to our next pick. This next mon is something that I've wanted to use in the format for a while and just haven't really gotten the opportunity, but this is the time that we did. So we picked up Tapu Bulu. Now, Tapu Bulu gets a lot of heat for just being not that great, and I completely disagree. I think Tapu Bulu is a huge hitter. Its terrain gives it an incredible boost, not only boosting its grass-type moves, but also giving it access to a little bit of extra recovery. It has fantastic bulk. It has really, really good bulk. It's a lot bulkier than people give it credit for. It gets set up with things like Bulk Up and Swords Dance. It has decent type coverage. I mean, its typings Grass and Fairy can, really don't hit one thing, and that is, or two things, Steel and Poison, and it gets superpower for Poison, or for Steel. Nature's Madness is another good move, so it gets some coverage, it gets some moves. It has an okay speed tier at base 75, so it makes for a decent Scarfer, but most likely you're going to see it as a bulky attacker. And it has a fantastic attack set to go along with some really powerful moves. Its ability obviously gets grassy terrain to put up the grassy terrain. Common moves you'll see on it. It gets things like Bulk Up and Swords Dance for setup. It gets some utility as in Leech Seed and Synthesis and Taunt. Even Nature's Madness can be used pretty well. So it also gets coverage like Horn Leech, Mega Horn, Stone Edge, Superpower like I mentioned, Wood Hammer, Zen Headbutt. So some cool stuff that it does get. And I'm really excited to use this Tapu Bulu and really excited to see what it can do. So my next pick, I think I might have taken this mon a little bit early, but I wanted to make sure that I got it. I got sniped in another league with this mon, and I really, really, really wanted to use it. And that mon is Zygarde 10%. So we got Zydog. It has an excellent speed tier at 115. It gets set up in Dragon Dance and Coil. 1,000 Arrows is a ridiculous move. It hits anything and everything, and Grass types, which it doesn't hit, Outrage is still going to do a lot of damage. Has powerful priority in extreme speed and gives us an electric immunity to help out the Celesteela a little bit. So getting some synergy around there, getting some ground resistances and immunities for our circuitry, getting that electric and fire resistance as well. So we're starting to see some synergy. Excuse me. Starting to see some synergy between the team. I'm really happy with this pick. We did need some speed at this point, so I was happy to pick up some speed as well as a very good attacker. Its abilities are a break, so not really going to do much there. But typical moves you'll see on it, Coil and Dragon Dance for setup. It gets some utility in things like Glare and Toxic and Substitute, as well as moves such as Crunch, Extreme Speed, Outrage, Stone Edge, Superpower, 1,000 Arrows, and Zen Headbutt. So, again, I'm really excited I was able to pick up this mon. I'm very, very happy with this pick, and I can't wait to see what Zygarde 10% is going to do throughout the season. Now, with our next pick, I wanted a little bit more speed. I wanted a speed tier close to base 100, somewhere around there, preferably over. And I also realized that I needed hazards at this point. I didn't have any form of hazards, and I really, really wanted that to help support the team, especially with Zydog and with Bulu and Circuitry. I really wanted hazards to help the team. So I decided to pick up Nihilego. Now, Nihilego is a good mon. It has a really good speed tier at base 103. It gets dual hazards, so that was something I was really excited about. It gets Rocks and Toxic Spikes, which is really, really nice. It has great special attack as well as great special defense. So some good bulk on the special side as well as it can hit pretty hard. And Rock and Poison is a very offensive typing. So this thing can get up hazards. It can fire off some strong attacks. It can be like a lead sash set, get up 2 layers of hazards. So I'm really excited for this thing. Again, ability, it gets Beast Boost. Most likely going to be boosting its special attack, potentially its special defense. Common moves, like I had mentioned, it gets the Stealth Rock and the Toxic Spikes. It also gets Thunder Wave, which could be really nice. And then it gets coverage in Dazzling Gleam, Grass Knot, Power Gem, Psychic, Psyshock, Thunder Wave, Sludge Wave, and Thunderbolt. So I was very happy with this pick. Nihilego isn't regarded as a phenomenal mon in the format, but it did cover some weaknesses that I saw my team was having, so I decided to pick it up. As well as we have that ground resistance in the Bulu, that ground immunity in the Celesteela, and we have the Bulu's ability to Grassy Terrain weakens ground type moves in general. So I think that synergizes very, very well, and I'm excited to see how Nihilego is going to serve us this season. So next up, again, I